Hello everyone, we are watching what was really happening. Man still in Jurassic World. What was really happening behind the manslaughter in Jurassic World?
When people talk about the fall of Jurassic World, what do you think of? The guests being evacuated, the Indominus Rex chaos on Main Street? The last thing you think of is the workers. And Jurassic World would have had thousands of them. So what happened to them? You see, while the surface of Isla Nublar burned from the Indominus Rex attack, a select group of personnel followed a silent emergency protocol. They vanished into a hidden network of ventilation shafts, leading to the company's ultimate contingency plan. And today we finally exposed that secret. You see, the park we saw was only the guest version. I mean, it looked so clean, the attractions looked controlled, the lagoon had seating, even the gyrospheres felt safe. All of that was part of the illusion. But behind every attraction, there has to be another version of Jurassic World. A staff-only version. A hidden version. I mean, Jurassic World wasn't just a theme park. I mean, it was literally a zoo as well. They were combined. This meant that thousands of people were likely working in the park when the Indominus Rex escaped. Masrani himself even said this was an eventuality, that a monster was going to escape into the park. So not only did they have ACU trained, there would have been other staff enacting a restricted and secret protocol. We already know that Jurassic World had a massive underground facility hidden from public view. Camp Cretaceous shows us this. It's so big they had to have trains underground to traverse the entirety of the island. That shows you the scale of it. But we're only scratching the surface here. There is so much to uncover in today's video. Jurassic World had an armed response team, but the movie only shows us how really unprepared they are. I mean, they're trained for escaped dinosaurs, maybe a raptor, a herbivore in panic, a potential containment breach, but they're not prepared for an Indominus Rex, a genetically modified hybrid monster. I mean, it hides its heat signature, it removes its tracker, it ambushes them, it even studies human behavior. So when this ACU team entered the jungle, they weren't hunting the Indominus Rex. The Indominus Rex was hunting them. The park likely had other emergency teams. They likely had lethal weapons as well. They had procedures. But we didn't really see any of that in the movie. That's because they hid it all too well. Let's think of the Mosasaurus Lagoon. That attraction was one of the biggest systems in the park. It would need various technicians, divers, water quality teams, feeding staff, gate operators. There's no way they would keep a
Okay, most of this is true. Yeah, all of this is true. But why can't you have to bring that up? Like what's happened to the workers? I don't know. Did they die? Okay, some of them died because he died in Camp Cretaceous. But yeah.
Mosasaurus of that size in that lagoon itself. Well, in the show lagoon. It would also need veterinarian access. And when Jurassic World collapsed, we only seen the lagoon really from above. The guest side, the stadium side. But what about underneath that lagoon? What happened to the staff working in that area? The people in the pump rooms, the maintenance tunnels. And when that island entered emergency lockdown, them areas do not become magically safe. And this is just the lagoon. Think of all the other areas beneath Isla Nublar and the monsters it was hiding beneath it. And this is what makes the worker side of Jurassic World so disturbing. The guests were able to run towards the exit and the ferry, but the workers, they only had to run deeper into the park. This is because Jurassic World's evacuation plan was centered around the guests. But the workers weren't in all these public areas. Some of them were underground, some of them behind fences, some of them in the restricted zone. You get the picture. Others may have been trapped behind to maintain certain systems. The control room was the only place where we could actually see the scale of what was happening. They were watching the cameras fail from that room. Trackers started to go offline. Paddocks started to alarm. They received information faster than anybody else. But they couldn't physically stop what was happening. That's a terrifying position to be in. You can see people moving into danger, animals moving to people. You know people are going to die, but who do you warn first? The guests? The staff? Which gate do you open first? Which gate do you close? Which routes are opened? Which areas are now left abandoned? We'll get into the underground tunnels in just a sec, but there's an area of the park and workers that no one talks about. What about the shop workers, the restaurant workers, the hotel workers, hell, even the monorail operators? No one talks about any of them. The people who are literally holding the doors open for the guests to escape, for them only to be left behind. And now it's time for things to turn a bit dark here. The workers in the restricted zones and beneath Isla Nublar. The areas no one saw in the movie. That underground facility we were talking about earlier, because that area becomes extremely dangerous. There's less visibility down there, fewer exits, more locked doors, and the chance of whatever they were working on in them labs. There's no way that would have been kept on top of Isla Nublar in the public view. The hybrid experimentation went on below ground. Camp Cretaceous shows us this. Doctor Who's PC was full of other canon hybrids. Where were they keeping those? You see, after the 2015 incident, Masrani Global claimed the island had been fully swept, that all the guests were evacuated and staff accounted for. Case closed. I mean, every single person, even beneath ground, was accounted for? It doesn't add up. As we see during Jurassic World, InGen comes in. And what do they do when they come in? They start taking all the assets, the embryos, the research. They start to enact a cover-up. But what about the witnesses? All these other staff members, people trapped below ground. Now you imagine you're one of these staff members. Perhaps they weren't trapped just because of the dinosaurs. Perhaps they were trapped because their escape routes were sealed.
Wait,
Imagine
what?
discovering that your evacuation route was suddenly closed. And then you have a message, ferry priority status isn't for the staff, it's for guests. The staff were always expendable. There's no way they had enough.
Wait, this makes sense. In Camp Cretaceous, we saw all of the gates got locked by metal gates, and not even Bumpy from Camp Cretaceous could break those gates. And humans are somehow supposed to? Yeah, InGen.
Helicopters to take off just your average Joe from the McDonald's on Main Street. No, they only had enough helicopters to take off the priority, such as Henry Wu. But then they say, oh, there's a secondary rendezvous point. Make your way to the other side of the island. And these are the workers which were on the surface. What about the workers beneath Jurassic World? Potentially sealed in these underground corridors, these labs, with things probably far worse than dinosaurs, genetic hybrids even. They have that to contend with, the diminishing power situation, and monsters. Not only dinosaurs, monsters. You see, containment would start to break down. Many of the subsurface tunnels would run beneath paddocks for maintenance access and service routes. You know, the feeders we see as well. Things guests would never even see. When the fences start to fail, power starts to fail, the people below the surface will start to hear what's going on above. Potentially dinosaurs making their way down into the tunnels. In low lighting conditions, that's scary. We start to see dinosaurs appearing where they shouldn't be, and sure, we know small dinosaurs would definitely make their way down there, but we start seeing large carnivores making their way into the tunnels. Because these people in the tunnels are likely trapped, and the carnivores make their way in for a snack. Dinosaurs entering through damaged access points potentially, doors which have now flung open because they have no power. The damage the Rex and Indominus Rex fight caused on Main Street alone could easily collapse tunnels from above, trapping the workers below. But these are just the corridors we know about. I know it's crazy because we barely see any of this in the movie. There's likely abandoned infrastructure below the island, old service sectors, restricted maintenance tunnels. There would even be forgotten access corridors. I mean, we see the remnants of the old park. That itself would have old abandoned subsurface infrastructure. You know, where they put the goat up from. That's just a single part of it in the original Jurassic Park. There'd be entire abandoned subsurface infrastructure that potentially some of these newer tunnels would lead to. That would be the only way for the workers trapped below ground to go. For them to start exploring a hidden Jurassic World. Remnants of the old aquatic research facility perhaps, which I've talked about in other videos. But not only abandoned infrastructure, what else could be navigating them corridors in the darkness, using it to their advantage that the gates would open? And some of these maintenance tunnels would be pretty small. There's no way a giant creature or a T-Rex would fit in these. But a raptor, a Troodon, Dilophosaurus, making its way through these emergency lit maintenance tunnels, trying to find its next victim. And the worst thing of all for me is, imagine you survive all this chaos. You make your way to the rendezvous point, and then this happens.
Now what happens? How can I do this?
Domestos Power Foam dræber bakterier, selv på de mest utilgængelige steder. Ustoppelig.
We're at the secondary rendezvous point. We've been here for about 1 hour 42 minutes. Control isn't responding anymore. We hear movement in the tunnel networks, and I don't think anyone's coming for us. Worker 597B, out. This was recovered from Isla Nublar, and maybe they made it out. Maybe the final recording was simply lost when the island was abandoned. They just left it there. Or maybe some stories were never meant to survive the evacuation. You're telling me there was no cover-up? The way they removed all the embryos and research from Dr. Wu's lab? And how no one went on to even talk about a single employee. All the guests became the headlines, the dinosaurs became the legends. But the workers who kept Jurassic World running, well, they just silently disappeared into the background of the disaster. And that just leaves us with more questions than it does answers. But what about the one final question? How many people were still trapped inside Jurassic World when it fell? You see, there's something huge which doesn't add up. During the evacuation, a document was found, a clocking in record, that someone had actually clocked in during the evacuation. Why was someone still clocking in?
Hello?
Actually clocked in during the evacuation. Why was someone still clocking in? That, my friends, is something we'll explore later. But right now, I highly recommend checking out all the other videos of Jurassic World, its restricted section, because I'm sure you'll enjoy them. And if you enjoyed this, hit that like and subscribe. Many thanks to the InGen research team who are on screen now.
What?
And thank you for watching till the very end. If you were
Okay,
trapped
guys,
in
should
them
we
maintenance
watch
tunnels,
another video?
could your day go any worse?
I hope you have
You bet
time.
Jurassic can. Catch you later.
We're watching this.
Make every meal greater with Costello.
Control, we've reached target depth. Visibility is almost zero. Hold on. There's something down here. InGen officially operated two islands, Isla Nublar and Isla Sorna. But buried deep inside fragmented company records, references to a third location repeatedly appear. Site C. No official maps, no attractions, no tourists, just offshore construction reports, classified marine research, and restricted access sectors hidden beneath the ocean itself. For years, no one even knew the existence of Site C, but in 2022, a corrupted recovery archive surfaced online. A deep sea dive recording recovered near Site C's coastline. Most of the footage was destroyed, but what remained was enough to raise terrifying questions. What's our current depth? 944 meters. That's impossible. According to InGen company logs, official infrastructure should not exist out here. No system ever extended this deep, which means whatever the dive team had discovered wasn't part of any official park or documentation. Control, you reading this? We're detecting structures, some type of walls. Looks artificial, man-made. You reading this? Roger that, Dive Team 1, continue your sweep. What the team found down there wasn't wreckage, it was a full facility. Massive. Hidden beneath the ocean floor near Site C. Entire containment sectors, docking systems, power infrastructure, and somehow parts of it was still active. They still had power. How is there still power in this place? I mean, it would have been abandoned for decades. This place should be dead. Buried inside the facility, the dive team recovered fragments of a corrupted archive data. Most of it was unreadable, but one phrase appears repeatedly: Gargantuan Asset Initiative. Wait, hold on. There's movement outside the facility. Control, is something moving outside? Biological. Whatever it is, it's massive. You copying this, Control? At first, the team believed they were tracking another submarine, another team perhaps, which had been sent down without their knowledge. But the movement patterns, they didn't match anything mechanical. This thing was alive. And based on the sonar readings, impossibly large. Control, requesting a controlled ascent now. That's not possible. What the bloody hell is that thing? Site C was never intended to be a park. It was intended to be something else entirely. A classified offshore black site, deep ocean experimentation, marine containment, asset development, all of this hidden beneath the surface. And according to the final corrupted files recovered from that facility, the Gargantuan asset wasn't listed as missing. It was listed as active. Control, it's still following us. Reading anything? Where's he going? That was the last known recording. Well, that is until I continue my digging on this subject. Because that asset is now out there somewhere. Still.
Guys, isn't this crazy?
And you're telling me they just forgot all about it? There's more to this story. We're not done yet. Because maybe there's even worse hiding in that facility and out there in the deep oceans. That's what we're going to cover next. Hope you enjoyed this. It was a different take on how I usually do my theories, and let me know how you feel on this in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. Massive thanks to the InGen research team who are on screen now. You guys keep the power on the park, and thank you for watching. If you want to see more like this, hit like and subscribe for plenty more coming up. And if you came across this gargantuan asset out in the open, could your day get any worse? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.
Bye. And bye, guys. Run.